The world has never been more connected. Goods move across continents in days. Money moves in seconds. Information moves instantly. And yet, some countries remain poor, decade after decade, not falling behind, not catching up slowly, just staying where they are. This is often explained as a failure, a lack of education, a lack of reform, a lack of effort. But what if poverty, at the national level, is not simply something to escape, but something the global system quietly depends on? Consider the promise of globalization. The idea was simple: open markets, free trade, integration. If every country could plug into the same global economy, growth would spread. Prosperity would converge. Poor countries would industrialize. Middle-income countries would climb. Rich countries would innovate. That was the theory. But when we look at the map today, the pattern looks strangely familiar. The same regions remain wealthy. The same regions remain poor. And the gap between them has not disappeared. In many cases, it has hardened. Take a look at global supply chains. Your phone may be designed in one country, assembled in another, and shipped across the world. From the outside, this looks like shared participation. Everyone is involved. But participation is not the same as position. Some countries control design. Some control finance. Some control logistics and standards. Others provide labor, land, extraction. They are connected, but not equally. And the value created along that chain does not distribute evenly. Most of it accumulates at the top. This is where the story usually turns to policy. If only these countries reformed faster. If only they invested better. If only they governed more efficiently. But this explanation assumes that the global economy is a neutral playing field. It isn't. It is a system built over decades with rules shaped by those who arrived early and benefited first. Trade agreements, financial institutions, intellectual property regimes. These are not abstract concepts. They are mechanisms that lock countries into roles. Once a country specializes at the bottom of the chain, moving up becomes harder, not easier. Think about industrialization. For today's rich countries, industrial growth happened behind protection. Tariffs, subsidies, state-led investment. But many developing countries are told they must liberalize first and compete immediately with firms that already dominate global markets. They are asked to run a race that others finished long ago. And when they struggle, the struggle is framed as incompetence, not as a structural disadvantage. Debt plays a similar role. Borrowing is presented as a bridge to development, capital for infrastructure, for education, for growth. But debt also creates dependency. Interest payments flow outward. Policy choices become constrained. Crises reset progress again and again. The system doesn't collapse poor countries. It stabilizes them at a lower level, stable enough to function, not strong enough to challenge the structure. What makes this dynamic difficult to see is that nothing appears broken. There is no invasion, no occupation, no single villain. Trade continues, aid flows, institutions meet. From the outside, everything looks normal. But stability is not the same as fairness, and integration is not the same as mobility. This is why globalization often feels different depending on where you stand. For some countries, it is a ladder. For others, it is a ceiling. They are inside the system but not positioned to benefit from its highest returns. Not because they failed to join, but because they joined late, under rules they didn't design. The uncomfortable implication is this: the global economy does not simply tolerate poor countries. In many ways, it requires them. Low-cost labor, resource extraction, markets that consume but do not compete. These roles are not accidental. They are functional. And as long as they remain functional, there is little pressure for the system to change. So when we ask why some countries stay poor, the answer is not found in motivation or culture. It is found on the map of global positions. Who sets standards? Who controls capital? Who captures value? And who is expected to adapt without ever catching up? Poverty, at this scale, is not just a local condition. It is a global relationship, one that looks natural only because it has existed for so long. The world did not become unequal by accident, and it will not become equal by connection alone. This is Behind the Map.